A major earthquake has struck off the coast of the Philippines, off of Mindanao, south out in the waters. 7.1. And here's Zamboanga City, General Santos City over here. The earthquake struck out here, 7.1. Rated at presently, and just zoom out here a little bit, show you where that is in relation to the rest of the Philippines. I got a report with the app that I use, volcanoes and earthquakes, and said you may have felt it. Well, I didn't, because it was a very deep earthquake, over 600 kilometers deep, over 300 miles deep, and far enough away from the land here that people felt a little shaking in a number of places around here, but because of the location of this, not so bad. And fortunately, little to no damage of property or life as well. I follow a site called Dutch Sense, and there was a 6 point something earthquake up in the Japan area a few days ago, and he does forecasting of earthquakes. And what he is saying, his method is that somewhere in the middle, the one up here and the one here, the big deep earthquake, generally there is a larger earthquake about halfway in between those. So he's expecting maybe uh, Taiwan type area, someplace in this vicinity in the next 7 to 10 days. We'll have to wait and see. Jumping over to a site called volcanoesandearthquakes.com. They put out a lot of information. They have apps for Apple and Android phones as well, and that's where I got my first notification here. And they've got a list view here, and they've got the map view here. And let's jump over to the map view here, earthquakes around the world, and you have vast number of earthquakes and volcanoes all along this arch, the Ring of Fire. Here you've got the world. You can key into the country that you want, and let's go to the Philippines. Right there. All right, keys in here and shows us what's going on in the Philippines. Got the plus button down here. You can zoom in. I thought maybe I can use control. I can. Yeah, you can use the control button on your computer, or you can use the plus and minus button down here. But here is where the 7.1, 98 kilometers southwest of Sangay, Philippines. So it's out in the water. It was over 600 kilometers deep, over 300 miles deep. So it didn't have a lot of motion up here. They had an alert for tsunamis, but no warnings out, is my understanding. In other Philippine news, enhanced e-travel system unveiled at NAIA. That's the main airport in Manila. And let's go down here and just see what it says. Government launched on Wednesday an enhanced e-travel system at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, Terminal 1, to create a more efficient and secure travel experience for air passengers. And many of you know, most of you probably know, that e-travel is an online reporting. They used to do this they'd hand you slips on the airplane a medical form to fill out, as well as a declaration form. Are you carrying more than 10,000 US? Any other items that you need to declare before entering the Philippines. Anyway, this is now online, and you have to fill it out. If you haven't filled it out, you can fill it out up to 72 hours before your flight or before your arrival in the Philippines. And if you haven't, they will guide you over to a computer where you can fill it out when you arrive. Bureau of Customs and Department of Information and Communications Technology coordinated with other agencies to improve the e-travel system, ease the facilitation of requirements. The e-travel system intends to simplify the digital data collection of travelers in all international ports. One of its features is the generation of a single QR code for each passenger that covers the requirements of the agencies involved in the e-travel process. Now, I was hoping to get additional information on this, but a lot of these articles, they just when you're getting interested, the article ends without giving you additional details. Important reminder and new news for some of you: leptospirosis test developed. This is an infection you can get from the feces, I guess, of rats, mice, that type of thing. And you're advised not to walk through flooding water because that danger can lurk in those murky waters. Group of health experts has developed a groundbreaking technology aimed at predicting complications for this, leading to personalized treatment. Now, I was warned early on. I did a video many years ago walking through very flooded streets, and I understood that the risks were falling into holes, tripping over things, falling into the water. But I was warned by a couple of subscribers then that about this disease, leptospirosis, and especially if you're walking through the water and you have any sores on your feet, legs, you can more likely get that issue. Scientists have come up with a molecular test that measures and monitors blood molecules among the patients and predicts who are at risk of lung bleeding. So lung bleeding is one of the issues with that. And this technology allows doctors to determine which patients need more intensive care and monitoring. He added, prevention is better than treatment. The test helps optimize healthcare resources by efficiently identifying individuals at risk of requiring a longer hospital stay. And yeah, this disease is a disease caused by leptospira bacteria that is found in water contaminated by the urine of affected rats. Poses a major problem, especially during the rainy season, and that's where we're at. Locally, more than 4,000 cases are recorded annually with an estimated 10 to 15% mortality. So very, very critical. Without treatment, this in humans can lead to kidney failure or damage, meningitis, which is inflammation of the membrane around the brain and spinal cord, liver failure, difficulty in breathing, and even death. Patients experience fever, headache, chills, body and muscle aches, vomiting, nausea, and yellowed skin and eyes. Lung hemorrhage is associated with about 80% mortality despite standard therapy. There is a huge event going on here in Cebu City metropolitan area for about a week, and it's a couple days in here. Palarong Pambansa 2024. This is the medal tally, and for the different regions, and it is sports competitions across the western, eastern, and central Visayas. I believe people coming in from all around, and this is the sunstar.com.ph site if you want to check in on some of the articles about the athletes and what's going on there. Delegates have been put up in a number of different places, some schools, I believe, across the city, and some are having a problem with water supply, broken facility, and billeting. Some delegations face difficulties after the water supply in their billeting areas is limited, while comfort rooms are reportedly clogged or broken. And I don't know what the deal is this, because even in these large malls here in Cebu City, you go into the CR, the bathroom, and way too often there's one or more urinals are plugged up, and I've asked the people that the attendants in the room, what's wrong? Why are 2 out of 3 sometimes are broken, and it's like I haven't seen that happen in other countries. So why does it happen here? Basically, the CR is a challenge, and then the water. I've spent a lot of my working years in management, supervision, quasi engineering type work, logistics, and you learn to try to foresee problems. Try to foresee problems, plan ahead of time, solve those possible problems, make sure they don't happen, or that you have a solution in case something happens. You plan ahead, especially for a large event. And trying to get my girlfriend to think like that. I've got a British friend down the hallway that he's got a carer, and he says trying to teach my carer to be more of a manager, to foresee problems coming up in the future. And he's like 89 years old, so it's important for thinking ahead. What are you out of? What supplies are you out of? What are you going to need next week? Just thinking ahead. And I'm not pointing any fingers. The fingers are all pointed in the article if you want to stop the video and read through it. But when you have 600, 700 people coming in, and you're billeting them in a school system that probably has at least that many students using, you're going to need a lot of water. You're going to have functioning CRs, bathrooms. Uh, anyway, that's all I'm going to say. Some taxi drivers in Cebu City target delegates of Palaro with unmetered fares. And taxi drivers here in Cebu City have been very, very good over the 9 years I've been here. Almost 99.9% of the time, the meter goes on. Uh, Rare occasion when they forget, I remind them. But there are those cases, especially coming out of like a ferry port. They might quote you a flat rate and just go to the next taxi if they don't want to use the meter. And the flat rate, my experience has been 2 to 3 times what the meter rate would be. Some taxi drivers may have taken advantage of the Palarong Pambansa by reportedly overcharging athletes and coaches, mostly from outside Cebu province, for their unmetered fares. Sunstar Cebu received a complaint on Wednesday, just a day after the event started, was officially opened, that some coaches, athletes were overcharged, and some were not using the meter. Sunstar Cebu went to confirm the said complaint and encountered two taxi drivers who offered 200 peso for a ride from the University of San Carlos main campus to Ramon Duterte Memorial National High School in Barangay Guadalupe, Cebu City. The charge price was almost double the normal rate for this route, which would only cost around 100 if it was based on the regular meter rate, which is 40 pesos at flag down and then 250 per minute rate. Taxi drivers would then offer the lesser rate of 150 to persuade passengers to be on board. Another person stated, even here in Cebu, a lot of taxis have meters that increase rapidly. They don't pity the guests. You should report these, and you report them to the LTO, the Land Transportation Office, and LTFRB for the imposition of sanctions. If you find this kind of content useful, I've got over 1,400 videos up in 9 years, and I put out 2 to 3 per week on various different things: real estate, travel, cost of living, and other just fun videos as well, informative most of the time, I think. Consider subscribing. And thanks for staying around. For if you're still here with me, safe travels to you all. Beautiful place to visit or even retire to. See you next time.